as more people realize that, then you start seeing that rush. And so that's why I got involved. That's why I think Ethereum is going up and up and up and up.
Yeah. Okay. So there's like a lot to unpack, because you talked about DeFi, and you also talked about NFTs and like digital collectibles. So going back to DeFi, I just love to hear more about what protocols have you been experimenting with, and like your thoughts on actually using this stuff.
Yeah, so I've played with staking with Aave because I wanted to see how it worked. I've done some yield farming, not as much as some other people, because it takes so much time to make sure it's done right, and you've got to track everything, and there's not a lot of utilities out there that just let you manage, and really the hard part of it isn't, jumping from 6 to 19 to 58, and that's only there for 2 days, and all the ratios and everything. The hard part is knowing exactly what's trustworthy and what's not, right? Because if all of a sudden their pool just drops to nothing, or the MVL drops significantly, then you can get bought in and you're toast. And so there's a lot of, and there's so many new ones popping up. And like the early days of the internet stocks, a lot of it is narrative. Someone releases a token and they go out and get some of their friends to buy some, saying, look, we're going to be first and we're going to push up the token value. And then they get out and move on to the next one. And so unless you're there to be able to follow those narratives on a minute by minute basis, which I'm not, it's hard to jump around, right? So when I talk about yield farming, for me, it's more, okay, I went to Uniswap or I went to Aave too, and I did some swapping and I jumped around between yields and just to experience it, or I staked so I can get my 2 Aaves every month.
Nice.
And so, or I get my Rari tokens when I post stuff there. And so I haven't, you don't need to live it. And by the way, I've got a friend that lives this every minute of every day and is, making 10-15% a day. But you really got to commit to it. Yeah. And so I've played with it. And so I understand it, and I look at the various tokens, and I bought one like Bizarro token just to see what happens. I put in $10,000, and I'm not gonna say which one because it'll go to the moon and everybody dive in, and I don't want that responsibility. But I'm fortunate that I can afford to mess around with it and take some of the risks. And I bought some sushi just because I love the name sushi, but and I've gone on the different marketplaces to try to see the differences and experience all the different FTX, you name it. I'm trying different things there, and I've got wallets all over the place trying to keep track of them all. And it's just more, I'm not here to tell you that I've become an expert in it, but I've really got an understanding of it by using it.
Nice. And what are some of your key takeaways after experimenting a bunch?
So the key takeaway is, once it becomes simple to understand wallets, like an Aave, it takes a little time not a long time, but a little time to understand their whole concept of deposit and withdrawal and staking, right? Because, you deposit it into there, then you withdraw it so you can stake, and it's just not, it doesn't make immediate sense. And so just trying to understand all the nomenclature there has to improve. And so, once the applications are there to simplify it, and Coinbase is trying to do some of that, but Coinbase is too big now, right? They've got to deal with so many clients that it's really hard for them to do it, and they'll get there eventually, but it's going to take time. And so the whole concept of wallets has got to be simplified. The whole concept of accounts within wallets has got, so when you're on MetaMask, my MetaMask because of the way I set it up when I was just learning, my MetaMask on my iPhone is different than my MetaMask on my Android phone, which is different than my MetaMask on my on the web on my browser, and then in order to sync them, I gotta delete this one, right, and then go out and do that one, and it didn't make sense to me when I tried to sync and I put in my password and it didn't work. So, right, and I understand why now it doesn't work, right, because the account one doesn't match up to be the same as account one from browser to phone to mobile version, but all that stuff has got to get simplified. When it does, right? So just like, back when we started streaming, you had to visualize what could it be? Could this replace, regular television? Yeah, I thought it would happen a lot sooner than it would, but that it did. But I can see how banking is turned upside down by this, because every Bitcoin you own, every ETH you own becomes a bank, right? Or your wallet with that becomes a bank.
Right.
And you get to be your own personal banker depending on your account balance. And so if you're able to save enough, rather than putting it in a bank account or a savings account that earns next to nothing, and I think over time, right, as there's winners and losers, you're going to see the yields come down, because now there's all, it's because of the inefficiencies that you get to take advantage of some of these things, right? But even then, the friction to being your own personal banker by having your own bank account that you control in your wallet, and being able to use DeFi to give yourself a quick loan at a small percentage, right, while hoping your asset increases in value, that's a big deal. Now, there's still risk, obviously, that could go down in value significantly. And so, how you hedge that, I think there'll be ways to hedge. If you put in $500, we'll never let it drop under 300, but here's the limit on what you can borrow and that type of stuff. You'll see variances in the collateralization, the over collateralization, but, there's still a lot of, even with all that hassle, once you get your arms around it, it's less hassle than going to deal with the bank.
Yeah.
As more people realize that, then you start seeing that rush. And so that's why I got involved. That's why I think Ethereum is going up and up and up and up, because that's the easiest way to yield farm. Bitcoin is not an easy way to yield farm for most people, right? You've got to do your swaps and But Ethereum is easy. And, and that's become the currency for all your swaps or most swaps, right? And it's become the currency for a lot of, smart contracts. And so people are seeing that. And as more people are coming in, I think that's why, I've owned a lot of Ethereum since they started doing smart contracts for, 3 years, whatever it's been. Maybe I don't know all the dates but anyways. But yeah, so, I think Ethereum right now has an advantage over Bitcoin in terms of regular people, not as a store of value and transactional, because as more people get into NFTs, all they're going to know is Ethereum. And they're all going to have to buy Ethereum in order to do it, right?